Hey everybody, what is up? Chad Wesley Smith here for Juggernaut Training Systems and Juggernaut AI. And today I'm going to teach you how to squat. So this video is if you've never squatted before, you're curious about it, you want to get started with it, but you're not sure where to start. So I'm going to go back to the basics. So as always, the videos here on the Juggernaut Training Systems channel are brought to you by the Juggernaut AI app. And so if you're looking for individualized programming for you, so once you learn how to squat and maybe get into it for a couple months, from that level of beginner with only a few months of lifting experience all the way up to people chasing and setting world records, Juggernaut AI app will create a custom program for you to help you reach your goals and become the strongest version of you. So get a 2-week free trial at the link down in the description or at juggernautai.app. So why should you listen to me for how to learn how to squat? Well, I've coached thousands, tens of thousands athletes at about 250 seminars around the world. Coach athletes from youth athletes to grandmas, everyone in between, big lifters, small lifters, tall, short, young, old, everything. People setting world records, people doing the first squat of their life. So plenty of experience and understanding of how to help you with this. So we're gonna try and take about 10 minutes here to have you doing decent looking squats by the end of this video. So first things first is finding your stance. And a simple way to do that is take a stance that you would do a vertical jump from. So if you're gonna jump as high as you can, that was only like half as high as I can, but that's gonna be where your feet start with. Then you're gonna do this sweet little dance move, heels out, toes out. All right, this is a very simple place to start from. As you get more experience, you're gonna make adjustments on that. I'm gonna talk about some of those adjustments as we go, but here, your stance is set. So we're going from vertical jump stance, heels out, toes out. So your toes are gonna be anywhere from maybe a 10 degrees to 30, 35 degrees pointed out. Some people may end up squatting with their toes more straight forward, some people with their toes more out wide, but chances are you're somewhere in between. So this is gonna be a simple starting position for you. Now the teaching progression that I like to use for the squat is we start with a goblet squat, then we go to a front squat, then back squats to a box, and then the regular back squat, which is gonna be our goal for today. And all of those early progressions you could do to a box as well. So if I get my lovely assistant over here, we're gonna start with a goblet squat. So in a goblet squat, you're holding the weight 6 to 8 inches off of your body. This position is gonna force you to flex your abs as hard as you can. So our breathing, when to breathe during the squat. Marissa's gonna take a big breath in at the start. She's gonna flex her abs like she's gonna get punched in the stomach. She's gonna hold that flexed position, all right, while she just sits down onto this box. She's gonna sit down, hold herself on the box for a second, and then stand up. And at its most basic element, that is the squat. Bend your knees and stand up. So if you're struggling with your positions, elevating the box so you end up a little bit above parallel is going to be a simple way to do that. Obviously, Marissa is a very, very experienced powerlifter, so this is going to look good and easy. You could raise this up, 4, 6, 8 inches from this to where you're barely even, maybe you're bending down this far and you feel comfortable with that, and you take them out away and you take them out away, and we just kind of build that progression. If you have problems with your heels coming off the ground as you squat and you feel like you're way on your toes, that could be from some restrictions in your ankle. And a simple way to address that is going to be to elevate your heels up on plates. Now they have squat shoes, Olympic weightlifting shoes that do exactly this, but since it's your first day squatting, we don't need to go out and spend 150 bucks on shoes. So you're just gonna elevate your heels on the blocks, and this is gonna give you the ankle mobility you need. You might need to elevate a little bit further to be able to keep that even pressure through your full foot, but this will be a good start for you. So once you're getting and feeling comfortable with the goblet squat and being able to take the goblet squat to a parallel or slightly below parallel box with or without your heels elevated, next you can move to the next progression of the squat, which is typically gonna be the front squat. So keeping with our heels elevated, moving over to the barbell, and kind of a good rule of thumb is if you can do a set of 10 goblet squats with a 45-pound dumbbell, then you're ready to squat with the barbell, because the standard barbell is going to be 45 pounds. So as Marissa comes over here to the front squat, There are a lot of ways, and as you search YouTube, a lot of different ways that you can do the front squat, that you can hold the bar. So what we're gonna do here is called a zombie squat. So a zombie squat is with your arms straight out in front of you, and we're trying to get the bar resting in the crook of your shoulders, and it's gonna be pretty close, even brushing up against your neck, and you're gonna keep your thumbs up the whole time. So as Marissa walks this out, she's gonna get her heels up on the plates again. We're just sitting straight down. Heels are elevated on the plates. Knees come forward, hips go back. So our butt's not moving backwards, all right? Our butt's moving straight up and down. So we've moved from the goblet squat to the front squat. And now we're going to a back squat variation. So depending on your ankle mobility, we could keep the plates under the heels, we could get rid of the plates under the heels. So for Marissa here, we'll get rid of the plates underneath the heels. As you transition to a back squat variation, where do you put the bar? All right, so where do you put your hands on the bar? Where do you put the bar on your back? So as you get more advanced, and if you watch some of our other content here on the Juggernaut Training Systems channel, we talk about this tight hand position, all right, to create tension in the upper back. But here on day one squatting, I'm not that concerned with a really tight position. So a good rule of thumb here is gonna be, you're putting the tip of your thumb at the smooth part of the bar, all right, and then extend it fully and then go to another half a thumb length. So the tip of your thumb, where like the crease of your thumb is, and move it out there. So this is gonna be tight enough to create good upper back tension, but not so uncomfortable that your arms are killing you from your first day squatting. The next part of the squat is we're trying to create a good shelf for the bar to sit on. This shelf is going to be created by you pinching your shoulder blades together. So if Marissa tries to pinch my fingers with her shoulder blades, this is going to flex your traps, and this is going to create a shelf for you to put the bar on top of. So we want the bar sitting up on top of your traps, not on your neck, not way down your back, but here in the meatiest part that you can create. So, don't concern yourself with high bar or low bar right now. Just find where this, biggest part of your traps is and putting the bar on top of that. So we're keeping the shoulder blades squeezed together here. Marissa's squeezing the bar hard in her hand. All right, as she walks the weight out, she's getting her feet set with that vertical jump stance, heels out, toes out. So with her breathing, she's breathing into her stomach, flexing her abs like she's gonna get punched in the stomach. All right, then we're just sitting down to the box. Hold for a second and stand up. Then she exhales at the top. So the whole time that she's squatting, she's holding her breath in, she's holding that flexed position in her abs. Now you might have heard, that you should breathe out on the way up. Well, when you're standing up, that's when you're exerting force on the barbell. And when you breathe out, you're relaxing. So we don't want to be relaxing while we're exerting force. So we're going to hold that braced position in our abs the whole way through the squat and reset the air when we're back at the top. So you should feel pressure through your full foot while you're doing this. If you're struggling still with your heels coming off the ground, keep the plates underneath your heels, keep your heels elevated. That'll create a more mobile ankle for you. So just kind of going through our checklist so far. Our stance, vertical jump, heels out, toes out. We're starting to learn how to squat from goblet squats. So holding the weight a couple inches in front of your body, making sure that your abs are flexed hard like you're gonna get punched in the stomach. If you need to elevate your heels to be able to keep pressure through your full foot as you squat, go ahead and do that. If you need to elevate them higher than we had Marissa's done here, that's fine too. Just, if you start really high, you might just have to progress it down over a number of weeks. We're gonna start with the goblet squat to a box, all right? Then you could go a front squat, zombie squat to the box. Then you can look at putting the bar on your back, creating a good tight shelf with the upper back, putting the bar on top of that shelf, squatting to the box. Then we're gonna work to remove the box from the squat and get to just a traditional barbell back squat. So as we get the box out of here, our hands are about 1.5 thumbs away from the center smooth of the bar. Shoulder blades pinched together. Trying to take that identical stance every time. And if you have the ability to maybe put some tape down, maybe mark on the ground with some chalk, so you have a consistent place to put your feet. We're big air in, brace the stomach like you're gonna get punched in the stomach, and we're just sitting straight down. So it's just like the box is there, Nothing changed for Marissa's squat. Now there's just no box, so she's gonna have to develop that ability to hold herself in the bottom position of the squat. Other thing to address here is, where do you look during the squat? We don't wanna look way up. We don't wanna look straight down. We wanna have our gaze about 6 to 10 feet in front of us at the ground, all right? But not straight down in front of us. So 6 to 10 feet in front of you, slightly down. This is gonna help keep your neck straight, keep this what we call a packed neck position, and create a better bracing position for you. Safer all around, simpler, easier to learn. So last couple basic ideas as you introduce yourself to the squat, it's gonna be the tempo that you squat with. So how fast should you go down? Good, easy place to start is gonna be a 3 to 5 count on the way down. So spending more time on the way down is gonna allow you to learn those positions a little bit better. It's gonna allow you to correct the positions, correct for any balance issues as you go down. So as I'm going down with a 3 to 5 count, I'm just counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then standing up explosively. You should feel the weight through your full foot the whole time. And as you go to stand up, no real special trick to that. Just press your feet into the ground and you go up. You know, this squat is kind of a real basic human movement pattern, so I don't want you to overthink it and I don't want to over-cue it. So we're getting our stance right, our breathing right, where our gaze is, and then a good tempo. That's gonna be a good way for you to introduce yourself to the squat. As you introduce yourself to the squat, you want to do it in a very simple, easy progression. So depending on your fitness levels and what feels hard to you, that might mean that right off the bat you're doing sets of let's say 8 with a 35-pound kettlebell or a 35-pound dumbbell for a goblet squat, and then you next week go to sets of 10 and then sets of 12. Then maybe you go up to 45-pound for 8 and 10. And once you can do sets of 10 with a 45-pound dumbbell or kettlebell in the goblet squat, that's a good time for you to move to the barbell. Then you can go with the front squat progression, build up a little bit for a number of weeks there, then to box squat, then to back squat. And depending on your abilities, your kinesthetic awareness, coordination, all that stuff, this could happen in one day. You're checking the box of, okay, I can already do 45-pound goblet squats, no issue. And then you're to front squat, box squat, maybe back squat that first day. Some people, it might take a week, a number of weeks. When you have these really relatively low intensity workouts in the grand scheme of things, the more frequently you can do it, the better. So even if that means you're just doing some bodyweight squats every day, 20 bodyweight squats in the morning every day, the more exposure you give yourself to that, the quicker you're going to learn this movement pattern, and the sooner you're going to get to the fun stuff, loading plates on the bar. So we've got our simple progression here. We're finding our stance. We've got full foot pressure, good shelf for the bar to sit on, bracing our stomach like we're gonna get punched in the abs. Our gaze is slightly down, but about 10 feet out in front of us. Bend your knees, stand up, and that is the basics of the squat. So hopefully you've learned a little bit about how to squat. You go more in depth with this with our beginner's guide to powerlifting, and that's gonna give you a 12-week progression to learn how to squat. Maybe once you worked your way through there, then you're ready for the Juggernaut AI app. And then you can check that out for a 2-week free trial at juggernautai.app. Hopefully you liked this video, you learned something. If you did, like and subscribe to the channel. Thank you.